Welcome, everybody. My name is Faith Collins. I'm the Community Capacity Coordinator here at the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. On behalf of myself and Catalyst Connection, we want to welcome you to the Department of Labor Workforce Opportunities in Rural Communities Session 4, From Why to How, Employers Putting Apprenticeships to Work, on today, Thursday, January 8th, 2026. Like I said, this session is going to be recorded and the slides will be sent out afterwards. We are testing out SPC's Teams capability for the first time today. Please bear with me as we brave this brand new world here. So we're building off of what we initially set up in session 3, hearing from different apprenticeship resources and stakeholders, moving into hearing from 3 different businesses regionally that are really taking advantage of apprenticeships in the area. So going to move on to our next slide here. Okay. All right, so already did that. Jen from Catalyst Connection is going to review our mission statement here. Catalyst has a new resource called Apprenticeship HQ, excuse me, that Scott from Catalyst is going to review. And then we're going to get into a panel discussion with our 3 different business presenters, including Pinnacle Precision, JV Manufacturing, and VECA. After that, we're going to do a call to action. And finally, we want to invite you to our next session 5, which will be in person on Thursday, February 26th at SPC's offices, and lunch will be provided. So we'd love to have you join us. All right, Jen, I'm going to hand it over to you for the mission statement.
Great, thanks. So I know everybody can read through this slide, but I wanted to mention a little bit more about why we're meeting today. And in the spirit of how we titled this meeting, From Why to How, and employers putting apprenticeships to work, we're going to really understand a little bit more of that from key players with apprenticeship. But in taking a look at why we're meeting today is primarily to raise awareness on available apprenticeships through the Department of Labor Workforce Opportunities in Rural Communities grant. This grant really is suited to engage partners in the small business workforce ecosystem to advance pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities. To talk a little bit about why we really want to engage our partners, why that's critical. As most of you know that are on the call, DOL press release on June 30th, you will recall that 84 million in federal funding was awarded to the states, including Pennsylvania, to expand registered apprenticeships. What does that demonstrate? It demonstrates a commitment to apprenticeship as a proven workforce solution. And we're here today to talk more about that and how apprenticeship can support manufacturing and really help grow the manufacturing industry as well as other industries as well. We also want to really be cognizant of the fact that the apprenticeship opportunity also strengthens employer talent pipelines. We know that employers struggle with identifying talent for the work that needs to get done, primarily in the manufacturing industry and other industries as well. So apprenticeship is a way to prepare workers for high-skilled and high-wage careers. So in order to move the needle, we need to work collaboratively with partners in our workforce ecosystem and increase awareness. And that's what we're here to do today. So if there's any way that you can support the cause, please reach out after the meetings. And we really appreciate you being here. And I'll pass it on to Scott to talk more about Apprenticeship HQ.
I have also included, I was able to do polls live. So Scott, if you don't mind, I'm going to launch our first poll here. Okay. All right, I want to make sure that everyone can see this. All right. Okay, our first poll is, are your businesses struggling with workforce? And I'll just give this a few seconds here. Okay. All right, we've got so far 88% yes, 13% no. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. And for our next one, we're going to go to Do your businesses know about apprenticeships? Just give that a few more seconds. All right, 71% yes and 29% no. So sounds like there's some awareness, but maybe unsure how to get started. So glad that you're here today so that we can go ahead and kind of show how other people have paved the way here and how you can utilize the different resources available to you in the region. Scott, I am so sorry. I was so excited I figured out how to do that, and I'm going to move over to you for Apprenticeship HQ overview.
Not a problem. I don't know if I know how to do that, so that's exciting.
Oh,
And so I have to learn from you after the call today on how to leverage teams more effectively. So, well, my name is Scott Dietz. For those that don't know me or weren't on past calls, and I'm the director of workforce development at Catalyst Connection. I think all of you know who Catalyst is probably, so there's no need to go into the deep dive there. But I'll also just mention that our president and CEO Petra Mitchell is on the call today as well. I'm sure she's probably waving whether she has her camera on or not. But and I'm also going to ask our three panelists to start getting ready on getting their cameras turned on and whatnot, because you're up next. So just giving you this little sneak peek there on being ready to go. But we're very excited about this new initiative and this new website called apprenticeshiphq.org. This website launched back in November, and it's one of the deliverables of an RK Mellon grant that we have received to work more collaboratively with our other manufacturing apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship partners in the region. And why I'm so excited about this is I think it's a great model, not only for our region, but also for the nation, of how organizations can come together and complement each other and work collaboratively versus working competitively. We've always been friends with all the organizations involved, but I think now we I think there was a note in the chat too, Faith. So if you can kind of watch the chats for us. But so yeah, I think coming together collaboratively and being able to work more effectively and efficiently together, I think is a huge opportunity for us. And one of those things that we identified was being able to streamline the communication, whether it's to schools, community partners, manufacturing companies, about what is apprenticeships, what are pre-apprenticeships, and what do the individual programs that you can see represented here by the organizations listed. There's 7 of us that are in collaboration on this: Bots IQ, CCAC, NTMA, Carnegie Mellon's Robotics Institute, New Century Careers, German American Chamber of Commerce, and Catalyst Connection. What do each of our programs entail? So this is version 1 of the website that's live. Version 2 is going to include our next big deliverable for the RK Mellon grant, which is stackable credentials. How can individuals that start in one of our programs be handed off to one of the other program partners, earn advanced standing and credits in their program to expedite their career pathways, but also provide even more opportunities to build a resume, to build experiences, to get connections to manufacturers, and have a long career in manufacturing, which is, of course, what our end goal in all of this activity is to help individuals get long-term careers in manufacturing and then have successful careers where they continue to advance and improve their careers over time and upskill. So again, very excited about it. Encourage you to go check out the website, give us any feedback. There's contact information for all the organizations on there as well. And again, a lot more coming to that website, but please also share it out. We have flyers, we have information we can send to you that you can use to share it out in your community and with your partners. But again, I think this is a way to consolidate information in one streamlined place versus having to go to all 7 different organizations' websites and finding where the information is and getting that. So thank you for helping us share that out to the world.
excellent.
And I think with that, if there's nothing else, Faith, I think we're going to jump into the panel, right?
Yeah. All right. So we'll do this slide just for a little bit while we're introducing our panelists here. Today, I so grateful to have Amber Wary from JV Manufacturing, Jen Zilka from Pinnacle Precision, and Thomas Van de Bunt from Becca. I'm going to stop sharing here. I believe I made everyone who was supposed to be a presenter. If not, you can either use the Q&A or the chat, which I will be monitoring while we're going through this. with that, I'm going to hand this over to Scott and to Jen to moderate. But yeah, please feel free, and thank you again for being with us today.
Great. Well, again, thank you to our panelists. And reading your bios, reading a little bit more about your background and what your guys are doing with apprenticeship. I think we're going to have a really dynamic conversation today. Really excited about unpacking, why you do the programs you do, how you do the programs you do, the impact that your programs have in your organization and your community. So I'm really excited about this conversation. And I encourage everybody that's here on the call too to, we want to make this interactive as well. So if you have questions as we're going through things, or something's not clear, or you want us to unpack it further than I do, we'd love to have your questions thrown into the mix too. I do have a very long list of questions here that we're going to get through, but love to hear questions from all of you in the mix as well. So start thinking about what you want to know about apprenticeships and from these companies specifically. So we're going to start with general introductions, and I'm just going to go alphabetical here. So Amber, you're going to be up first, but if you could just come off mute and let us know who you are, who you work for, and where you guys are located, and just a quick snippet of what your company does.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Amber Wary. I'm the HR and safety administrator over at JV Manufacturing. We are a family-owned tool and die business, and we're located in Natrona Heights. We have about 100 employees, so I always say that we're a little bit smaller, but there's companies that are even smaller than us. And I have been involved with the apprenticeship program pretty much since I started about 4 years ago. But JV's been involved. They started in 2020, so we've been going strong for, I guess we're going on our 6th year now.
Great. And what kind of stuff do you guys do at JV, Amber?
So
Just to
we
give some people some
design
context.
yeah. So we design and build carbide stamping dies. So half of the business, like I said, is building these dies, and the best way to describe them, and I kind of describe them as giant cookie cutters almost. They're made of carbide. There's a top and bottom half, and we stamp out different things. We do stuff for nuclear industry, medical industry, automotive. So we don't just make one single thing. So half of the business is designing the dies, and then the other half is, our end products that are coming out of the dies. So like I said, we have 2 buildings. So one of our buildings primarily focuses on the production, so our end product, and then the other is primarily work on the dies themselves.
Awesome. Well, Amber, we're going to come back obviously and talk a lot more with you about apprenticeships and what all you guys are involved with. But Jen, why don't you give us the same introduction?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, awesome. My name's Jen Zilka. I'm with Pinnacle Precision Company in Glassport, Pennsylvania. The Chief Administrative Officer. I've been here for 21 years. We are basically a job shop. We have clients all over the place, Oklahoma, Erie. We do some work for internationally, Mexico, India. We have, getting to you, Amber, with a small shop, we have 11 employees. So we are very, very small here. I actually started with a company, it is family owned as well. Michael Small, who is our owner, actually jumped into the company as a machinist, and then moved his way up as the owner after the passing of his father. But Mike actually started in an apprenticeship program for machining back in 90. Oh my goodness, shame on me. I'd have to refer to my notes here, but back in the 90s, put it that way. So we have actually, even before I started here, started working with apprenticeship programs. So
that's great.
My apologies here.
Thomas?
Okay, sorry about that.
We can't hear you right now, Thomas. Nope, still not getting you. We're going to, I'll give you another few seconds here, and if while you guys are working that out, I might jump back over to Jen for a second here, just to kind of keep things flowing, but nope. Nope. Well, I'm going to let you guys work on that, and just say a quick hey, just give a shout of a hey, and when we hear you, we'll give you a thumbs up or something, and we'll come back to you. You may have to actually leave and come back too. That sometimes solves for teams as well. So worst case scenario. Jen, I wanted to ask you real quick about the as we start to kind of talk about apprenticeships a little bit more. Do you think that your owner, having been an apprentice, is a driving force behind why you guys have an apprenticeship program within your company?
100%. The original owner, Ed Small, who used to work at CP Industries, and when he decided to branch off and start his own business here, making Pinnacle Precision Company, he was very, very straightforward, but was very, very big into machining. That's kind of how he got his start. And several employees at the beginning with Ed actually came in and started in the apprenticeship program, because Ed did push, for these guys to get further education, which obviously helped them and help the company as well. So definitely, because when I came in here, obviously at the time we didn't have anybody in an apprenticeship program. So when few years later, after I was here and things were changing, we had some other employees that were interested in furthering their education. So I kind of went back to Ed's old files, dug through some things, and here we are today. So it's definitely advanced Pinnacle, and definitely helps the employees out as well.
So when Jen, you were mentioning that you guys are a very small company,
Yes.
I think that's a great takeaway for those that are on the call today or that are watching this recording, that you don't have to be a super large company in order to have an apprenticeship program. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And then also, can you just tell us as well, for background, of what apprenticeship program do you currently run?
Sure. I have some notes here, so I apologize if it's okay if I just kind of look down here.
Sure.
So we actually started with the Pittsburgh chapter of the NTMA, and we started working with Craig Dobson. So obviously that's been some time ago. And now after Ed had passed, we did, stick with the Pittsburgh chapter, and we started with Liz. And Liz has Liz Blashock, sorry. She has been wonderful. She really knows her stuff when it comes to the apprenticeship program. She kind of pulled me in and got me started, sending over the information. This is this is how we do this. This is what you need to do. So really, I would think she works at Pinnacle and not me when it comes to the apprenticeship, but she has been a huge help. We've now, along with it, I don't really want to say apprenticeship program, but we've used Catalyst Connection, which has helped with grants in the past. We are a very, very small business, and Catalyst Connection has been great. We were able to receive several grants, which actually helped us as far as being able to further some of our solid cam works over here, the designing, the engineering of drawings and things of that nature. So that's been wonderful. We are working with WedNet right now. Reggie, who was just out here not too long ago, great guy, as far as grant reimbursement for the apprenticeship program. So it's like a huge family. Everybody's connected, everybody's helping each other. And it really has been a blessing for us, especially, being so small in manufacturing.
Jen, I'm just going to make a comment about what you said, and then we're going to see if Thomas got his audio working, because I saw he left and came back.
Yeah.
But
Are you able to hear me now, Scott?
I got you. Awesome.
Wonderful.
I was like, I hope we
Sorry
don't lose him,
about
because when you guys hear what all they're doing, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad he's on this call. Not that we're not happy for all of you being on the call, but just to correct what I just said. But so Jen, I love that you were saying how you it's not all about your organization, especially being so small. You don't have to figure it out yourself.
No.
You can lean on partners, and that the partners become an extension of your organization. There's some of the things I heard you say, which I think are all really great points for those in the call or watching this recording to kind of think about, and the value that this network of organizations can provide.
Yes, 100%.
So Thomas, let's go circle back to your introduction. Why don't you tell us who you are and a little bit about your company?
Yeah, sure. My name is Thomas Vandebund. I work for Wecker. I'm a training manager there since approximately 15 years. I'm a tool and die maker by trade, process technician by trade. We are the leading producer of PVC profile system for windows, doors, and fence, decks, rails, outdoor living products. Our Wecker Group operates 40 sites across 4 continents, including 24 production sites. I started in Germany actually in 1978. And I was an apprentice there. I was one of the first apprentices in Wecker back then for vinyl extrusion technician. And I came over here to the US. I was 23 years old and went through another apprenticeship program in 1991 to be a tool and die maker. That's how I got the passion to be involved with apprenticeship programs. And I was able 14 years ago to actually started my own programs here at Wecker. In 1991, like I said, tool and die maker. We had great experience. We never could have done it without apprenticeship programs. Our tool and die shop never would have been the tool and die shop what it would have been now. So just listen to Amber. It's very interesting. She's with the tooling involved. Yeah, that's what I do. I work here out of Farmville, Pennsylvania. I take care about Reno, Nevada, regarding training, and North Carolina as well, and Texas as well. We want to do apprenticeship programs. We want to integrate apprenticeship programs there as well. We have 4 different occupation registered apprenticeship programs here at Wecker Inc. We have internal apprenticeship programs, 8 of them, because we don't have enough schooling available to do all that. There's so much expertise that we have to do in-house apprenticeship programs to attract young, talented people. So
that's awesome. Like I said, we've got the apprenticeship guru on this call today. Thomas's wealth of experience you just heard. I'm so excited to unpackage that a little bit more and dig in a little bit deeper with some of that. Thomas, before I forget it, because it's not in my list of questions for you, but something you just said, is it because you guys are here for Southwestern Pennsylvania in particular, because you're in Farmville, which, isn't right in downtown Pittsburgh with maybe as many resources and access to as many universities or, things like that. Is that why you guys had to kind of develop some of your internal training programs, or was it because you're so specialized in the work that you guys do?
Yes. In the beginning, of course, you start small because you have a few departments and you end up eventually with 12, 14 different departments because there's a lot to it. We build tools, we design our own tools, we extrude our own vinyl. There's a lot to it, and it takes a lot of special skills. There are a lot of different occupation combined, and it's extrusion is like a chain. One link breaks and you're done. If you don't have good compound, you're not producing good vinyl, good tools. Now everything gotta be together. Now that's extrusion. Now if you have a bad design, you're wasting your time even running the tool. That's the beauty of it to apprenticeship programs. That's a lifetime job. You start one occupation, there's a growth opportunities for another occupation. Now, in the same time, we have process technician, they develop into tool and die makers, or they become CAD/CAM technical designers on top of it. Each occupation going to benefit you for the next step. So that's the beauty of it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to jump over to Amber here for just a minute. Amber, tell us a little bit about your why. Let's just maybe start off with why did JV decide to adopt an apprenticeship program, and tell us like what you guys currently do with the apprenticeships.
Yeah, so at JV, I always like to say we are really big on training. When Jen mentioned WEDNET, my ears perked up because we've been using WEDNET for a while here. So basically, the state gives us, I believe it's about $2,000 per employee for training. So we always try to maximize that every single year. So we're always looking for new trainings. But with the apprenticeship, that aligns exactly with training. So we kind of wanted to do it to grow our internal talent, grow the people that we already have, but we also use it, when we're recruiting. When I go to job fairs, I always say, we do offer, I didn't even mention this, we offer the 2 apprenticeship programs. So we do the IMT with Catalyst, and then we also offer the NTMA program. So we always like to talk about those at job fairs. And candidates are always like their eyes light up as soon as we, talk about that, because they want to know like how can I leverage my career? How can I grow more? That's a little bit different from, going to get an associate's, bachelor's degree, things like that. They're always looking for different ways to learn. So I think the main reason why we got involved is because we love to train, we want to grow our internal talent, and then it also helps us, recruit new people.
I love that recruiting aspect because I think that is a lost opportunity for a lot of companies that have apprenticeship programs, or as they're thinking about one of why they should implement the recruiting side of it, not just the upskilling of talent. Do your apprentices, if they get hired off the street, do they slide directly right into your apprenticeship program, or do they have to spend some time with you first?
So from what I've seen, we like to get them a little accommodated to working in manufacturing, especially if they haven't come from the industry. So I say at least a few months first, just so they can get their bearings straight here at JV. And then once, they're a little bit more comfortable, then we kind of start those conversations about like what we have to offer. If they want to do the NTMA route, which is a little bit more of a commitment because it's 4 years, that's fine. We've also had employees who come from the trade schools that kind of lean more towards the NTMA one because they did those courses in the trade school. But I like to say we like to give a couple months, but we definitely, whenever they're ready, basically is fine with us.
I'm wondering, there's been a kind of a shift in the marketplace when we look at less individuals, and especially students coming through high school, continuing on to college. College enrollment's down pretty considerably. Our trade schools are busting at the seams right now. There's a lot of students looking for alternative pathways. From your experience, have you seen an uptick in interest in apprenticeship pathways, pre-apprenticeship? Are you seeing that job seekers are finding that even more attractive now than maybe a year or two ago?
Yeah, and I also forgot to mention we participate in the pre-apprenticeship. So we've had 2 students who did the pre-apprenticeship program in high school. They came to work at JV. Oh, I think we had 3. But we had 2 that come to mind that worked at JV over this last summer, and they were awesome. I mean, they didn't have any manufacturing experience, but we just look for like the willingness to learn, showing up to work, having a good attitude. That's the other thing that we like to stress too. And I like the pre-apprenticeship because it kind of lets them get to see a little bit about manufacturing before they get in, especially safety, because that's number one, and that's a good thing for people to come in to have a little bit of a background on. But yeah, I've definitely seen the uptick in the apprenticeship too, because they get to do it at work. So that's the biggest thing. They want to do it at work. They want to get paid to do it. They kind of prefer that rather than having to go, after work, things like that. Because a lot of people, they got stuff going on. They have kids, they have a life. So that's what I've seen a big interest in, is definitely the IMT one because it's at work.
Yeah, that earn and learn model, I think, is definitely very appealing to folks. And I just want to emphasize again something Amber said, as far as sometimes we have companies, and for our partners on the call right now, you might hear this like, oh, we already have an apprenticeship program. Well, but is it meeting all of your needs? If not, you can have more than one apprenticeship program. And you're hearing that example here with Amber having two, and then of course you've heard with Becca having more than I can count. And I don't know how you keep it all straight, Thomas, but with the multitude of options there. But I'm going to jump back over to Jen here real quick. And Jen, as a small organization, you probably don't have, all 11 employees going through apprenticeship at all times. But can you just tell us a little bit about like how do you select individuals, and because you're such a small organization, are you guys partnered with other organizations that you don't have to have a large number of individuals to be able to participate in the apprenticeship program?
And Jen, you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. It seems like anytime you're on a meeting, then that's when chaos has to happen here. So I apologize. I should have muted. So we are very similar to what Amber had said. Usually, most of the employees, the people coming in that we hire, we try to find skilled labor. Okay. I don't want to say that that's not what we, that we don't look for that, but a lot of the people coming in maybe don't have the specific skills. Machining is not as popular as it was in the past, obviously. So to find, employees that have a lot of the CNC training is a little more difficult. So again, we do the same thing like Amber was saying, we bring them in. The biggest thing is to, I guess, gauge on their interest. You've got people that come in and they are very willing to learn. They want, they ask about further education. We have a gentleman here who has been with us for a year, and I think he was here maybe only a month or two, and boom, he's now in the apprenticeship program. So, but he asked about it. He was very, very willing to gain extra knowledge. This is something that he wants to do. This is more of a career path for him versus just, a job you go to every day. So we kind of do the same thing. We fill each individual out. You want to make sure that they are a good employee. You don't want to give it to somebody right away and then they're, calling off, et cetera, et cetera. So we just try to fill it out. Everyone is different. And I'm sorry, Scott, the second part of your question.
I don't remember either.
I thought it was just me. I'm going to call old age on my part.
That's
I
the problem when I ask
apologize.
complicated compounding questions like that. But I'm going to move to Thomas for just a minute. Thomas, I'm curious, we talked about the recruitment. Are you seeing that as well, that having an apprenticeship program is helps with the recruitment with your organization, especially being probably definitely the largest organization here on this call today?
Yeah, what do you like to know specifically?
Yeah. So do you find that when you have, organizationally, you have, you're able to recruit talent more easily because you have an apprenticeship program? Is that an appealing factor for new hires?
Yeah, sure. I remember when we started, it is not easy to get it started. So bigger you become, so better it gets. Because the culture of the apprenticeship program in your team, in your company, the culture change. At the beginning, it's tough because there's not many people receptive of, because you're doing training, right? You're not making any money, right? Mm-hmm. You got to convince everybody. I mean, that's the way it is. You invest in people so they make you someday money, right? Mm-hmm. And we have to see the human side of it too. Of course, it's both. For me, at the beginning, I picked my own people. I was a headhunter because I gotta make this work, correct? And I gotta make sure I have the right people. I don't have time. I just don't have the time for bad people. It's just the way it is. Later on, it might be forgiving. Definitely not at the beginning, because I have to justify it up on top. My time and their money and time, that is justified. So I make sure I go to the schools, and that's what I did. I found the right people, make sure there was interns. So I had a chance to see, and they had a chance to see that's for me. And before I made the decision to invest in them. And once I invest in them, I'm committed, of course, because they are for our critical position. Now, I'm already thinking 3-4 years ahead what they're going to do for us someday. Also, before you do all that, there's so many things to think about it. Make sure your departments know about it, what you do. Now, because you got to have the buy-in from everybody as well, because you have to, so bigger you get, you have to have cross-training. You want to make sure that everybody is involved and understands apprenticeship programs and so on. Now, because you have people, they like to block you as well. There's a lot involved. Also, you wanna make sure that the training has to match your department needs. It all gotta be right. Now, there's a lot to it. Competency checklist, you name it. Highly recommend to work with somebody, a supporter like the German American Chamber of Commerce. In Germany back then, we had the IHK called Industrie- und Handelskammer. It's very similar. They give you more guidance, more professionalism, constructive criticism. You have to take it, very important. Not everything you do is always the best. No, it's always good to be open-minded, and it helps tremendously on the outside that we are open-minded as well, and not just as a company see it's only the way we see it. It's from the outside too. That helps a lot too. Made a big difference.
Thomas, you'd mentioned about obviously the upskilling and being able to provide people with career pathways and more skills that are valuable to your organization. But I'm also wondering does it help with retention of those employees? Do you have less turnover because you have an apprenticeship program?
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about it, because they know we care. We have a goal for them. We have a future for them. They know that when they graduate and they become journey person, they know exactly what the next step is. Also, them 3 years, when I get them from the beginning on, I have time to bond with them as well. Mm-hmm. Now the trust is there. I'm looking for that trust. Best deal, both parties are happy. The apprentice got to be happy, and we got to be happy.
I think today, especially in a tight labor market where it's tough to find talent, the retention of the talent is so much more critical today than ever before, because there's just not enough people to constantly churn and backfill.
What we see a lot, especially with process technician, they're called polymer technician. What we see is, I always say, do the hardest part first, and that's in particular for extrusion, and that's plastic extrusion process technician, and that's a 3-year training program, and they really develop their passion, because they travel through 10 to 14 different departments, so they are able to understand the process and also everybody else. Also, they understand to contribute to departmental success, and also they're exposed to everybody else. So that means I really catch a few birds with that, because I make it attractive for everybody. Everybody gets introduced to the apprenticeship program, and they actually think about putting their own people in the process, because it is important that, example, a maintenance person or a lab compound person understands the process, because he works with material. Also, he has time to build relationships. That's important for me too. It's emotional intelligence. When they're 17, 18 years old, they don't know how to communicate. They are all learning. It belongs all to that. There's so many things. And what happens here, we have so many from the plastic extrusion, they are able to go become a tool and die maker, or electromechanical technician, or a lab technician, because the manager are willing now. They see they have a good attitude. What actually Amber and you mentioned, They have a good attitude. They're willing to learn. That's one of the most important things, is purpose, talent, willingness. And here we are, the managers. Once I'm done with the process tech, they are willing to go to the next step, and I'm able to keep them within the company. That's one of the most important things. No? It's for us a win-win. And I have so many that went further. And the connection in them 3 years with the apprentice is just the key. No, because he's not going anywhere. Why would he? He feels safe. No?
Well, it's amazing how many times we've heard companies, at least from my experience, we've heard companies say like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to make that investment because then they might leave and go somewhere else after I've trained them up." And I think you really touched on again that loyalty you built, that relationship that you built. But I love that you touched on the intangibles as well. That sometimes again, that camaraderie and the other soft skills, life skills and career skills that people get along the way. I'm going to jump to Amber here real quick. Amber, I'm wondering about your mentors in particular and the folks that are supporting your apprentices. What do you see from a standpoint of your other employees? Has it impacted your other employees? Has it impacted your mentors in a positive way?
Yeah, so we actually have one of our employees who comes to mind. His name is Carrie, and he's a mentor for IMT Catalyst program, but he's also a teacher for the NTMA courses. So he's kind of our go-to guy because he literally teaches some classes, but he's also a mentor, he's a supervisor, he really does it all. But all of our supervisors, leads, and managers, they're all mentors. So I think a lot of our new employees, they know who to go to, they know that they're never alone. They, if they have questions or concerns, if they ask somebody, even if that person can't answer, they'll find someone that can help them. But we definitely like to get a lot of involvement from those mentors. We've even had some try to, teach classes for the customized portion of our IMT program and teach even like the new hires that became apprentices, teach them like how JV like works, like how the part travels through the shop and all of that stuff. So I think a lot of our people here, a lot of our mentors, they really like to get involved. Even like when we have the students come in, the pre-apprentices, everyone here is really great. I'm sure when they started back in 2020, there might have been, I was not here, but I'm sure there was a little bit of pushback, kind of just adjusting to all of it and getting the buy-in. But I think once we started rolling along with it, it's just been great ever since.
That's awesome. I'm just going to throw out, I had a mental gap there for a second, but I was going to throw out to the entire audience a reminder that if you want to jump into the chat and ask any questions, we have a little bit of time here yet, but I just want to give you an opportunity to ask questions of any of our three wonderful guests here today. So feel free to jump in and do that. Jen, I'm going to jump over to you. I just want to ask if you have any additional intangibles that you've seen by having an apprenticeship that's been of benefit to your organization.
Well, obviously one of your questions on, some of the information you guys initially sent out, you asked about a success story. So, I guess this is a perfect segue to throw him in here. We have a gentleman here, Eric, who has actually been with the company, for 20 years. He started out with us at the age of 20. Eric actually started his machining career back in high school when machining was offered, in the VOTEC program. So that is very, very difficult to find in a lot of school districts now. They're kind of fading out the machining end of it, which is sad because it is definitely still needed. But anyway, he started back in 10th grade. Came to work with us here and immediately jumped into the NTMA program, the Pittsburgh chapter of the NTMA. Absolutely did wonderful. His mechanical abilities, great communication, troubleshooting, everything about him when he started was absolutely wonderful. The only downfall is he was 20 and we were all 20 at one time. So obviously it was he showed the willingness he wanted to do, but that 20-year-old in him kind of pulled him down a little bit. But once he got through the apprenticeship program and became a journeyman, things really started changing for him. He was on, to work on time all the time, no issues. He really started mentoring, some of the new employees, just really helping them out. Just a complete, attitude change. Everything about him had changed. He had the skills, and I believe, honestly, him going to through the apprenticeship program really helped him to grow up as well. And now here he is, like I said, 20 years later, a huge success to the company. He actually is right below our production manager. So he's kind of like a shop liaison, a real go-to guy. And he has done great. All of his success personally has given Pinnacle success, in the manufacturing world, financially. We've had some of the best years, the last 5 years that we've had here in at least the 21 years I've been here. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
huge success.
Amber, do you have a success story you want to share?
Yeah, so we had an employee who joined JV a few years ago, and he, I think, was in maybe our second or third cohort of the IMT program. He didn't really have a lot of manufacturing experience, but he came in and learned a little bit of machining, and then he went to production. So he actually got to learn kind of all of the scopes of what we do here. And he joined the apprenticeship program, got to do all the classes and things with that. But his main goal was to actually eventually get into our IT department. And we actually had an opening last year, and he interviewed and got the position in that department. And I thought that was amazing because we had interviewed a bunch of candidates that had all kinds of technical background, history, things like that, but he was such a great fit. And I think going into the apprenticeship program not only kind of allowed him to learn a little bit more about manufacturing, a little bit more, technical schoolwork, because he didn't have a degree or anything like that. So to me, it was great to kind of see him, start from the bottom and get to like his goal department. I thought that was actually awesome. So that's what I think
Very
of.
cool. And
Yeah.
probably his knowledge of the organization, having that broad knowledge, probably helped him in the IT world as well for you guys. Thomas, do you have a success story you want to share with us?
Yeah, many. Yeah, many over the
You can only do
years.
one.
Huh? Yeah, many. Since 1991, the guys I work with, they became managers, general managers, supervisors, moved to Texas, moved to North Carolina, Reno, Nevada. Great stories. And still, and I don't take it for granted, because there's nothing more rewarding than seeing others succeed. I actually have a ex-apprentice right next to me. He is now a training coordinator. He just finished his plastic extrusion process technician, and he's getting involved with training, and he has great leadership skills, and he never thought something like that he would do that in his life, and he gonna build somebody else, because I'm not here forever either. No, somebody got to take over. And I really like what Ember said, and Jen, I absolutely, I can relive it. It's a great feeling. One thing, saying that controlling an apprenticeship program, very important. There's too many people like to dismantle something like that when they see opportunity. Now that's something, and I don't know how Jen, it would be interesting for me how Jen and Amber feels about that, because there's really, if you don't control this program, there's a lot of people don't want to see it. So I don't know how they feel about it, if they see it. Somebody got to be really strong to keep it up.
Yeah, I'd say probably, Thomas, the advantage you guys have in a way, maybe compared to our two other panelists here, is, a few years back, I had a chance to go to Berlin and see some of the apprenticeship program and learn more about some of the stuff you guys have been doing over there, and just the how entrenched it is in the DNA of the German culture and the way that everything is done there. And I see that a lot in our manufacturers that are German-owned companies here as well. Just it's in your DNA, and maybe it's a little bit more. Uh, if the economy is good, we're going to train. If the economy is bad, we're going to train. If if we have the money, we're going to train. If we don't have the money, we're going to train. Like correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it seems like it's maybe a slight advantage there, but it's also, I think an interesting mindset for the rest of our companies to adopt of, why is that the German culture, and I mean, obviously, other than longevity of number of years you've been doing it in your country, why is the mindset like that versus maybe a U.S. company that doesn't have that mindset?
Well, Scott, if I look, Wecker AG is it's a based German company. So they train, they have 30 to 45 apprentices each year, regardless. And there's a reason why, because they build up their talent pool. Because they don't do it in the last minute. They know each occupation, it takes maybe 2 to 5 years before they're good at it. So what they do, they have succession planning. It's called succession planning, and here we are. They build their talent pool, and when they're ready and they have the growth, and the customer runs into their door and wants them windows, and they want more production, then they're ready. They're able to put their people in the right place. They don't have to hire them. They're ready. So what we did since the last 14 years, we put ourselves in a much better position because we are able to get these people immediately because we have them here, and we are able to confirm them to something else as well. Because a process tech is a lot faster ready to be a maintenance guy or a tool and die maker than somebody comes in and is completely fresh and doesn't even know our culture. And we don't even know he's going to stay. That's another thing. That we know he's loyal for us and to us. Now it's a completely different mindset. And he knows.
I love that idea of the having to think strategically, because the person's going to take, through an apprenticeship, it's going to take 18 months to 4 years of a journey, and having to plan out your talent needs further out. I think it's something a lot of our companies don't necessarily do. It's more of on a whim and kind of seat of their pants kind of hiring and talent strategy. So I really like that you mentioned that.
Sometimes I shouldn't compare to stock market. Somehow it is. I mean, it's a great investment. Now you can't, on this one, you can't lose. You just have to make sure that you foster the great relationship with the apprentice. You have to. There's do's and do nots. Now, and I think it was Amber or Jen or you said, don't treat them as cheap short labor, right? Now you have to make sure you treat them as they are there for a critical position. It has a reason why you hired him as an apprentice, because you're going to have something for him eventually, and you're going to stay until the end, until he retires. That's the goal.
So we're getting close to the end of our time here, I believe, but I think we might have said 11:30, but we're I know the mind can only absorb what the butt can handle, right? So we want to be mindful of everybody's time. Again, encourage you through questions in the chat, but I want to kind of come through the home stretch here with a little bit of as other employers are considering and thinking about an apprenticeship program. Maybe they're on the fence about if they can manage it or if they should make that investment and do that. Thomas, I think you hit on a lot of stuff already as far as justification of why a company should do a program. But anything else you would add as to why you think manufacturers, if they don't have an apprenticeship currently, should consider putting one into place?
Well, you reduce employee turnover, right? You increase staff loyalty. I mean, I can go on and on. If you don't invest in training, you will have a tough time. And the apprenticeship is just it's a great choice. And if some more support we have when it comes to funding sponsors, I have to praise the German American Chamber, great. CCAC is great. We work with Neil Oshbach, tooling. There's so much funding helps, of course. Train the trainer. You have to make sure it's not just apprentices. You have to make sure your educators are there. I have to make sure the retirees, my retirees, that they maybe put another year on that and train our people. That's something to think about it. That's all your training resources you don't want to lose. They have 20, 30 years experience. 10 years before, think about make educators out of them. Like the in Germany example, they already lived that since 40, 50 years. That's something here. Now you have to think ahead that you keep your educators, your employees, especially the ones that retire. I love to keep them all so they can train our people.
Absolutely.
So,
Amber, what would you say to manufacturers that are on the fence about whether they should participate in an apprenticeship program or not?
Yeah, I think it really just shows your investment in your employees. You know, you can say that you invest in your employees, but I think doing an apprentice is actually showing it. And, you know, being part of a group sponsor that we do, I work a lot with Jen, I work a lot with Liz, who I think is on this call too, and they make everything so easy. They walk you through everything, they answer your questions, answer your calls, so you're never gonna feel like, oh my gosh, I have to do all this stuff on my own. I don't know what's going on. Like, they make it very easy. I came in to running the program with no experience of any of that stuff, and they've made it very easy. So I think it's a very good investment, and you know, and the grants too, they definitely help. I can't even like remember the names of any of them because there's just so many, and Catalyst always does a great job at telling us what's available, and even working with us on how to get the grants and how to go through the process. So all of these partners here, they make it so easy and great.
It's awesome. Jen, same question.
Okay, first of all, Thomas, if I didn't have a wonderful job here at Pinnacle, I would come see you.
Right?
Your place sounds like an absolute great place to work. Yeah, the kudos to what Amber said. I've not worked with Jen, but I have worked with Liz, and I mean, she's a godsend. Without her, things would just be a lot more difficult. I mean, I wear about 555 hats here, so she is able to reduce me from wearing a few more. So, you know, I'm really truly blessed to have everybody that has helped Pinnacle. But as far as the apprenticeship program, I mean, look at the fact that you have this program out there, and your employees are now going through a program and become even more of an asset to your company. It's great because you are giving that employee a chance to further education without, you know, them having to pay, which is awesome. But they in turn are going to give back to the company, because now, you know, like in our line of business, we are now able to bid jobs that are a little more difficult or a little more time consuming. And now you have qualified employees that can get you over that hump, or that can get you those more difficult jobs. So I am 100% for the apprenticeship programs, and I hope they stay around for a very long time.
Well, I'm going to take this moment just to, for those who might have joined later or stepped aside for a minute, if you're watching the recording of this, just a reminder that we have apprenticeshiphq.org now as a website and resource. So if you want to learn more about the programs that have been discussed here today with the German Chamber of Commerce, you've heard New Century Careers, the CCAC getting some shout outs, the NTMA program, Catalyst Connections program. You can learn about all those programs on the apprenticeshiphq.org website. And I could spend all day talking to you guys about this stuff. I think it's just so fascinating to hear about how each individual program operates, how it runs, the supports, and unpackaging this. And I'd also like to just put a plug in that to those that are on this call or again watching the recording. We didn't really talk much about pre-apprenticeships today. We really wanted to focus this in on apprenticeship programs. But pre-apprenticeship is another valuable component to this whole ecosystem and career pathways of giving young people the opportunity to get some of these credentials before they even come to your company in a high school setting or as an adult job seeker, and can walk in and get advanced standing and accelerate and save the company money too on having to not have to spend as much time training. And so just want to put a plug in for pre-apprenticeship and the importance of that in this puzzle. But if the company doesn't offer the apprenticeship in that pathway first, that's kind of a chicken and egg thing. But there's plenty of opportunities to engage through these partners as well with local school districts and look at pre-apprenticeship pathways and stuff. So with that, I think I'm going to try to wrap it up here. But Jen and Faith, if you guys have any last questions for our panelists, that we have something burning in your minds that you want to ask or that we didn't touch on, you think are important?
I just want to say thank you for presenting today. This is incredible information. It's so good to hear from people that are practicing it in real time. Jen, I'll hand it over to you, and then I have a couple more poll questions to put out to the audience.
Nice.
No, I appreciate all of the panelists giving us all a great education on your experience in apprenticeship, and also to, just mention the fact that if there is interest on behalf of an employer that wants to stand up an apprenticeship program, but they're concerned about, hey, I'm busy. We know through even this discussion today with very busy HR professionals, Thomas, Amber, Jen, you all spoke about how working with a group sponsor has really helped along and been a support to you in the process of standing up an apprenticeship program. So I'm glad we were able to cover some of that conversation today, knowing that it's not a go it alone type of process. Group sponsors are out there to help you. And if there's any interest in learning more about that, please do reach out. And thank you very much to the panelists and for Scott for leading a great conversation around apprenticeship.
I want to thank everybody for coming on today and talking with us. A reminder that our next session is going to be Thursday, February 26, 2026 at SPC's offices. Please feel free to join us. Lunch will be served. All right. I got a couple more people going in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just respond quick to Ed.
Sure.
One of the things I'll mention is that, and I didn't mention in detail before, but if you go to the Apprenticeship HQ website, there's also videos for every one of our programs that are in the collaborative. And those are all brand new videos with the funding from RKM. We actually created brand new videos for all of the partners, professionally shot, and there's some really phenomenal success stories and really great information in those videos about each of the individual programs. So, but Ed, if your comment was more about like a high level about all things apprenticeship, or let us know, because that's something that we can certainly put on our to-do list as far as future assets that we create. But I think it's there's a lot of great videos for you guys to leverage on the apprenticeship website too. Thanks.
Okay, and thank you, Michelle, for putting that in the chat. Okay, I believe that's everything for today. I want to thank our panelists once again. I want to thank Scott and Jen. And like I said, the recording will be sent out along with the slides. And we look forward to seeing everybody on February 26th. Thank you.